Hey guys, so once again, as the more observant of you have probably noticed, A, it is taking me a really long time to finish this paint tutorial, and B, I seem to be wearing eyeliner and my hair is spiked up. Therefore it looks like I'm part of a grunge band, or an emo band. This is in fact not the case, but I have continued my recent acting spree? Short? I don't know what you call it. And I was a pirate today for a period of time, thus my face was normally dirty and I wiped all that off, but eyeliner is incredibly hard to remove for women out there. Wow. Anyway, I've left it on because I'm taking this role on again tomorrow and I will just continue, probably get rid of this ridiculous streak here, and that's that. I'll probably post a picture of me somewhere, either let's stick it here. So this is a picture of me there, of me being a pirate. So it's mostly volunteer work that I do, but it is a lot of fun, it's a good time, but it takes up a lot of time. So I've been getting behind, as you can tell, and now I'm doing a blog post and I look utterly ridiculous. But hey, it's what happens when you do stuff on the internet. Anyway, moving on. Part of the reason why it's been taking me forever to get to this is because I want to do something and I don't have the prop for it, so I'm going to go get that. Alright, I've returned, and what we are going to start off with here at the very basics for this painting tutorial, at least at this time, is going to be priming. That's what we're going to be dealing with today. At the store that I go to, they are actually out, unfortunately, of the spray paint. I've had black spray paint, but it's black spray paint that you'd use just for hardware stuff, and you want to use model spray paint on your models, and I want to look somewhat like I know what I'm doing. But they were out, and the lack of wanting to wait a while to get some more or order some online, I got this here, MSP Paint Series. It's essentially primer that you can use, only it's not spray. You shake it up, water soluble, non-toxic, yada yada yada. So we'll shake that up here in a little bit, and I'll actually be painting it onto the models. I'll just use a really big brush and just cover the whole thing. I'll get into why we're using black in a minute, but I told you guys we're basically going to be painting these basic guys, and by basic I mean we're going to be doing some dark angels, and it's just the regular guys holding the bolters. I mean, it's going to be what is going to be the meat and potatoes of your army, without getting into the super detailed stuff. And like I promised, we're only going to use 4 colors. 5 if you're including the base primer, which is black. And we're going to be going to try and get them to look like these guys. Right there. See right out front with the red guns? They've got green, white. It looks like white, but it's actually silver. Right out front. So we can get that with the basics. So that's what we're doing. So also they were out of the new Citadel paints, so I'm not even using the typical paint I'm used to. Do I have some? Yeah, I do. Is it for Dark Angels? No, it's for Chaos. I play Chaos, everything else sucks. Okay, everything else doesn't suck, I just prefer Chaos. But we're sitting here, I've got myself a dark green. These are actually P3, I've never used these paints before. So we're gonna see how it goes. Hopefully they go well. But I'm getting myself a dark green, that's gonna be our base. We got a light green here, this is going to be our highlight. We have red, that's going to be our basis for our weapons and maybe some of the other accessories on the model itself. And then of course we have silver, which is also going to be accessories in the other half of the gun. So I'll put all those aside, and here's how this is going to work. We are going to start out with 4 models. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 4 Dark Angels models, the basic guys. And we're going to paint these in stages. We're going to do Stage 1, we're going to primer everything. Stage 2, everything's going to get a base coat of green. After that, we're going to move on to our silvers and our reds. And after that, we're going to dry brush in green. So for example, this guy's going to get primered, and then he's going to get the coat of the dark green. This guy's going to get the coat of the dark green and silver. Then this guy's getting the other 3 colors, and then this guy's finally going to be completed with everything else. And this is to show, so I can put pictures later, showing the progression of each individual bit so you can see what actually is added with each color. So that will be effective. So put all that aside for now. We're just base coating today. We're going to do an actual paint tutorial a little bit later. I know, you're all probably pissed at me. We want our paint tutorial now. Yeah, I get it. Fine. But I got other shit I got to do, so deal with it. On a side note, what finally came out, look at this, the new Chaos Codex. It is hardcover, and this thing is amazing. One of the other things I'm going to be going over probably halfway through the paint tutorial. It won't even get done really because I'm going to do this because I need to read this book, and it's absolutely amazing. Has finally come out. It came out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Downside, all I gotta say, is $50. That's more than I paid for the whole rule book. Like, I mean, the, you know, the big fat, this thing. This, see this with everything? See how big that is? See how big this is? Yeah, 40, 50, 40, 50. And I'm not just because I got this one late or because it's been out for a while. Regardless, too much. I love that it's hardback. I love that it's finally come out, but damn it. Not really a big problem for me, to be honest, but probably a problem for some of the other people out here who want to play stuff. They have added a ton in this book. I've had a lot of people say that, no, it's not that different, they just added models. True or not, adding models completely changes the demographic of how a person's going to play. But before I start on that rant, we're going to start getting into this paint tutorial. So let's go ahead and move the camera and we'll turn it a different direction and we'll get started. And to begin, we're actually going to shake the crap out of this, because it says shake well. So, okay, that should be good enough. Now, on to painting. Now to begin, what I have here is I have 2 teacups. Now you may be wondering why the hell I have 2 teacups here. Mostly because this is a paint tutorial. What we're looking at here is actually a 1 cup filled with water. We are using water-soluble, non-toxic stuff, so when we want to clean our brushes, they go in the water, like so. And we will be wiping that off with towels, which I have here. So, yeah, just regular paper towels. You can get them cheap, get them expensive, I don't care what you do. Cheap, probably the better, because you go through a ton of towels and making models, or at least I do, but that's just me. The other one, as you can see, is empty, but we're gonna put this, you know, stuff we just shook up inside here, because, honestly, this container, and I'm not sure what they want me to do with this. Just put it in my hand and use, I don't know, whatever. But we're gonna stick it inside here. So now we have our primer sitting down there at the base. I'm going to be using this giant brush to get inside the crevices. You know, it doesn't have to be super specific, but it will cover the entirety of the model. It'll just make my life easier, and this should go fairly quickly. Now, those of you who may be wondering why I'm using black, like I talked about earlier, when I paint regarding size from the lowest areas to the highest areas, I typically go with black, because then if you miss lower areas, they just look like shadows because they're dark, which is really useful. You pretty much do this unless you're painting in really light colors. And being that we're going to be using this dark green, screw light colors, we're fine. So we're going to go ahead and take this and we'll go ahead and get started. Now, the key when doing something like this, as far as like brush, primering, and covering the entire model, the main thing is when you first put that paint on there, it's going to be on there really thick. You're going to lose a whole lot of your detail, and that's a problem. So the main thing is to spend a long amount of time really brushing the detail back in by moving a lot of this around. As you can see, I've only dipped my brush once, and we have already nearly covered the entirety of the model except for the legs and a few detail spots. So we're going to go ahead and go through here. I probably used too much paint or wasted too much primer in the base of our teacup here, but you know, that's okay. I'm going to get spray paint again eventually here soon, or I'll just, you know, break out the airbrush when I have more time and I'm no longer pretending to be a pirate or a scarecrow or whatever I'm doing every day as far as acting, and we'll actually get some work done. So we'll go through, get this covered, and this guy actually looks to be pretty done as far as black goes and primers. Let's go ahead and brush the chest a little more. He's got some problems on his face, but we'll get rid of that. Also keep in mind that when it dries, some of this detail will come back as well. So we'll go ahead and put him back. So just to get this whole guy done all by himself was literally one time in the primer. So I should be able to do the same thing with this guy. On a side note, while I'm doing this, for those of you who are worried about getting paint on your hands, quit being a pansy. You're doing models, you're painting things, I mean, you're going to get paint on your hands. I mean, if you really don't want to, wear gloves and look like a foolish individual, but, you know, otherwise, I mean, you're going to get paint on you. It's going to happen. See, yeah, there, I've got paint all over my finger there, and it's alright. Paint isn't going to kill you. It's water-soluble and non-toxic. You'll live. And if people ask you why you're out, why the heck you've got paint all over you, you're an artiste. Or you're just awesome and they're not awesome for not playing Warhammer, so there you go. It can be a good conversation starter from time to time. But then again, it's water soluble, so if you can't get it off, well, you know, if you never wash your hands and people notice, that's completely different. But, you know, that might be a topic you don't want to get into, why you never bathe, but, you know, that's, once again, something else. Alright, looks like we got guy number 3 pretty well covered thus far.
So this is kind of odd. I'm not really sure. This is more like almost an ink, really, than an acrylic, seems like. It's very... It's like a... I guess the best way I can say it is a sticky ink. Move the light a little bit, make things easier on you guys. Let's go ahead and dab this guy all over. This is our last last guy as far as this goes. This time looks like I probably dipped it a little bit too deep, so we're going to spend some time actually taking our towels here. Get a towel, lay it out. We're going to brush out some of this paint, and we're actually going to thin this out even more to get back to some of the detail that we've lost. So we're just going to get rid of it. Don't need to fully clean off the brush, just go through here and just clean it off a little bit. And there we go. That's pretty good. So we've got our guys' dry brush. Actually, some of them are actually pretty close to being dry already, which is fairly impressive. I'm going to go wash this out. It should come right out, so that'll be fine. Oh, by the way, the reason I'm using these because I buy these at thrift stores. They're you can get them for 10 cents, just cheap, tacky mugs, and you'll be all right. So I'll go ahead and use the water here. I'm going to pull that out of our brush. And when we stop seeing color coming out of our brush, we know our brush is clean. And we should be good. So let that dry. I'm not doing any more painting tonight, so I can throw this away. Otherwise, we would use this more. So we go, there are our men, and they are pretty much covered all the way through. This took 2, 3, 4 minutes. No time to cover them at all, and they're already starting to dry, so this is something to where, if I was really planning to, we could take these guys and actually go ahead and start painting, but we'll begin that in a different tutorial to happen probably tomorrow. So we'll get started then, and until next time.